Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about letter composition and how to make a piece out of your hand lettering. So the first steps are to figuring out kind of your layout of how things are going to work on the page. And within that, the most important piece is hierarchy. So which letters and words are most important to your piece? If everything is the same size, it's all speaking the same language and at the same volume. If you add variance to the size, the weight, and even the type of font that you use for certain words, it adds a lot of interest to your piece, therefore drawing the eye in. Also, when you're starting out, it's important to start with a shorter phrase. We're gonna make this. First tool, a pencil. Some people will give you advice on getting really fancy artist pencils, which I have. That's fine if you want to use those. For this, I think a normal pencil is great. So we want to start with kind of some baselines as to where all of our words are going to fall. No pun intended. So I'm thinking the word fall is going to be big and up here and kind of curved. And then is going to be the smaller words, and air is going to be the bigger word. So let's see. Fall is going to go along that line. Air is going to kind of come up in here. So I have this space here to fill in with is in me. Can you guys see that okay? Of course, you want to write really light with your pencil so that when you're done with your final product, you can erase over this and the pencil lines don't show up. So let's see here. Fall. So I want my F to kind of come down and out like this. And I am not being perfect here. This is just a rough sketch so that I know kind of where my letters need to go. So there's fall. And then something like is in the, okay, something like that. And then air. Okay, so as you can see, it's pretty rough, but I just like to do it in pencil first so I can figure out where things are gonna fall and make sure that I like the way the composition starts before I use markers. Next step, pick your colors. So because it's fall, here's the colors that I've picked. Now, of course, when you're doing your pencil drawing, you want to be really light with the pencil, like I said. Because say that I wanted to do this in yellow, and I have pencil underneath of it, the pencil's going to show through. Not a problem. If you do it really light, it'll be fine. But for today's exercise, I'm going to use brown, and then the rest of these colors are going to act as kind of elements or leaves or whatever. We'll get there. So let's start with brown. Okay, so going back to the basics that we've learned in the previous videos, nothing here has changed. We write these letters exactly the same. So, for the F, our downstroke is thick. Okay, so as you can see, this part is done, except for is in the. I think it's kind of fun to add another color there, so let's pick red. Now when I'm doing thinner type, I like to use this marker side of the Tombow brush. And for this, I'm gonna go ahead and erase that because I know generally where it's gonna fall. By the way, I am picky about erasers. I don't even know what this one is called anymore. White erasers are key. Okay, we'll get into another lesson on other types of fonts, but this is going to be just your typical print font. So originally I had the written down here, but as I'm writing this, I see that there's room for it up here, and I think I like that better. All right, so now we have this. Now let's make it fun. At this point, go ahead and erase because you have your basics down. We can always add more pencil, but this won't distract me now. Okay, as you can see here, as in the A, there's this little bump, and I hate that, but it's okay. We can just take in our brush pen and very lightly just straighten that out. And we're gonna add some highlights and whatnot, so that won't show up as much, but it's okay to go in and fill in your letters. Now I'm gonna add in some shadows and highlights and some other colors to this composition. So we already have red in the works here. I'm gonna continue with that and kind of add some elements around the brown letters. For this, it's your choice. You can either use the brush side or the marker side. I'm gonna stick with the marker side this time. For thicker highlights, I typically use the brush side, but for today, I think I wanna do just some thin lines on the outside of these letters. Here's what I mean. Awesome, we're getting closer. Now I'm gonna come back to my pencil and kind of draw in some other elements. So of course with fall there comes leaves and gusts of wind and pumpkin spice lattes and all of that. I'm not gonna draw a pumpkin spice latte, but I am gonna draw some leaves. So from this point forward, it's a lot of experimentation. Drawing it, does that look good? Does that look good? And then moving from there. Let's try. So just some words of advice here on composition. We can go into this more later if you guys want, so let me know down below if this is of interest. But there's some things within the design elements that are important to consider while you're doing compositions. The first, threes, or odd numbers. The eye is more drawn to asymmetrical type designs. So when you have elements like I'm drawing leaves now, adding 4 isn't probably the best. 3 would be great, 2 on one side and 1 on the other. Therefore, you can even out your composition and it's more interesting to look at. Here's what I'm talking about. I realize it's kind of hard to see, but what I'm envisioning here is off of this tail, I'm gonna create a dotted line which is gonna mimic some wind. There's gonna be a leaf here and a leaf here because this part of the composition feels kind of light to me. There's a lot of lines over here and not a lot over here. So we're gonna add 2 leaves here, but then this side feels left out. So I'm gonna add 1 leaf there. On top of that, I think that there needs to be 1 more wind stroke. So off the top here, I'm gonna do a dotted line. Let's get started. I'm gonna do something kind of fun here, and we'll do a whole lesson on this later, so don't worry. But tombos are beautiful because you can mix them similar to you mixing paint. So I want this leaf to go from yellow to orange. So I'm gonna start with yellow just up here, just kind of draw my outline just like this. And then I'm gonna take my orange marker and come down here and create the rest of it. And then tombos come with this awesome clear mixing marker. From there, I'm just gonna kind of blend these colors up and together. And of course, the better paper you're using, this is gonna work better. I'm using just kind of crappy printer paper right now, which is fine, but see how it's not truly mixing? So I'll probably come in and take my yellow marker and just kind of add some down in there. And there you go, you have a blended leaf. Okay, so we're pretty much done. I'm really liking this yellow in these leaves. I think it adds a whole nother element. So I'm gonna try this and see if it works. But I really want these little wind marks to be a little bit more pronounced, so I'm just gonna go add another double stroke. And there you go, a fun little fall piece. Okay, please show me what you made with this one because I'm so curious. Again, comment below with any questions. Tag me, I am Sam White and everything because I just want to see. Next time, we're going to be going into mixing Tombow markers. I did a little bit of that in this lesson, but next time I'll show you all the tips and tricks that I've learned. Can't wait to see you next time. Have a good one.